We have some breaking news about the fourth stimulus check that I want you to know, everybody. President Biden does have a chance to send out the fourth stimulus check before the end of this year. So let's see if he keeps his word and helps out the American people like he promised with a fourth stimulus payment. What are your thoughts on Joe Biden? Can he get the job done and send out the fourth stimulus check? Tell me in the comments below, folks. Now, I'm not going to waste your time. Here's what you have to know.
I was wondering what you think about the current top line number being 1.9 trillion that's being floated post your meeting.
There isn't a top line number yet. I mean, we're still putting together all the different pieces of it, and you know, it could be anywhere between 1.9, 2.2, 2 trillion. I mean, there just isn't a top line number because it comes out of all the programs. So we're still agreeing on all the programs, and so if I had to guess, it'd be somewhere around 2 to 2.2 is my guess.
We're reporting that it is 1.9 though, 1.75 to 1.9.
Republican lawmakers in the Senate just blocked the new bill from passing, indicating that the bill is unlikely to move forward without a change in Senate rules. Republicans today actually just blocked the action for the third time this year on legislation to bolster their voting rights. This leaves Democrats with few options to advance the bill outside the Senate filibuster rule and passing it over GOP opposition. All 50 Democrats and independents supported bringing the Freedom to Act vote to the floor, but all 50 Republicans voted against doing so, maintaining a stalemate over a proposal that Democrats say is needed to counter efforts in Republican-controlled states. Now here's who may be getting another $1,400 stimulus check.
We know if we can put these wires underground, we increase exponentially the service, but it costs a lot of money. We have to do it. We know that if we, in fact, allow people to be able to store, we have this incredible energy. I've visited one of the largest solar fields in America. It's in the Southwest. Guess what? You can transmit all that energy enough to really light up half of the state of Nevada. But guess what? How do you transmit it? What lines do you put it over? Do we have the capacity to do that? We have the engineering capacity, but do we have the will to do it? And imagine what that does. You realize we had $90 billion in loss this calendar year because of natural disasters? $90 billion? Jobs. Making sure there's a high-speed internet, affordable and available anywhere. Everywhere in America, including for nearly 1 in 6 families who go without internet. You saw what's happened when we've had this COVID. Try teaching from home. How many people do you see out in McDonald's parking lots with their kids in their cars because they get access to the internet to be able to help their kid in school? What are we doing? This is the United States of America, damn it. What are we doing? And both these bills are going to help us meet the moment on the climate crisis in a way that creates good jobs, makes us more economically competitive. $66 billion in passenger rail and freight rail. Why I always talk about passenger rail, and particularly high-speed rail. You realize the Chinese are now building another high-speed rail line that will go up to 300 miles per hour? You say, what difference does that make, Biden? Well, guess what? If you can get in the train...
Senior citizens, everybody, are among the most economically vulnerable in the country. That's at least according to the Senior Citizens League. So, the Senior Citizens League is calling for and proposing another $1,400 stimulus check specifically just for senior citizens. Now, while Social Security checks are due to go up to 5.9% in 2022, representing the largest COLA increase in 39 years, inflation threatens to swallow the bulk of the increase. Prices have definitely shot up. Inflation is on the rise and it is cutting into the buying power of those who can least afford a decrease in the value of the dollar.
The idea that Bernie implies the way he says things, speaking of negative ads, my Lord, Bernie, you're running ads saying I'm opposed to Social Security, that PolitiFact says is a flat lie, and that the Washington Post said is a flat lie.
Time and time again, talking about the necessity, with pride, about cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, cutting veterans programs.
No.
You never said that.
No.
Time after time, you were not a fan of Bo Simpson?
I was not a fan of both.
You were not a fan of the balanced budget amendment, which called for cuts in Social Security?
So this does justify, everybody, the push for more stimulus checks. But personally, I want to see Congress send out the fourth stimulus check, not just for our seniors, but even for the everyday American people. With kids and dependents, it's definitely necessary, folks. If you guys agree, then let's get this video to 1,000 likes. Wrote a petition, and the petition says, I want Social Security recipients to receive a $1,400 emergency stimulus check to cope during this unprecedented inflationary year. Social Security benefits are one of the few types of income in retirement, adjusted for inflation. But soaring inflation has taken a toll on household finances of retired and disabled Social Security recipients. In 2021, Social Security benefits increased by just 1.3%, raising the average benefit by only about $20 a month. But about 86% of Social Security recipients that were surveyed say their expenses increased by much more than that amount. So given the fight currently raging over President Biden's Build Back Better plan and what's going to happen to the debt ceiling, no one knows if Congress is going to send out the fourth stimulus check, but it definitely should be approved. In addition, according to multiple sources, due to the fact that the federal government has stopped its stimulus check initiatives, any new type of stimulus check programs and benefits are therefore to be decided and executed on the state level. The majority of states across the country have already made efforts to support their citizens during these tough times. This comes as a welcome relief to many families in the country who require financial support. So, President Biden is now heading to Pennsylvania to promote bills on infrastructure and social spending, which does measure to combat climate change remained a stumbling block among his fellow Democrats. Biden is going to deliver and talk about how his infrastructure plan will benefit the working class in cities across the country. His fellow Democrats in Washington are closing in on a deal to pass infrastructure and social spending measures after weeks of bickering, but hurdles remain and talks were ongoing. Biden told lawmakers that he thought he could get Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema to agree to a cost in the range of $1.75 trillion. Nancy Pelosi has also just set October 31st as the deadline for the House to pass a $1.2 trillion infrastructure deal that the Senate has already approved and has broad bipartisan support. On Wednesday, Pelosi told reporters that it is very possible for Democrats to agree on a framework for Biden's spending bill at the end of the week. Democrats missed a prior deadline to pass the infrastructure bill after House progressives refused to approve it unless it was coupled with the spending bill. Folks, thank you again for your support, and let's hope that President Biden sends out the fourth stimulus payments before the end of the month.
30 years ago, we ranked seventh in the world among advanced economies in the share of women in the workforce. Today, in America, we rank 23rd. And women are becoming, not joke, better educated than men. If you look at, and I do about 5 college commencements a year, 4 of those 5, the valedictorian out of those classes for the last 10 years has been a woman.